Hello, and welcome to the As a Podcast. I'm Noah Jordan,
And this is Lucas Lochisano.
and we're your hosts.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Yeah. I reckon we can start on politics. I reckon that's a pretty good introducer.
Yeah, jump straight into it.
Yeah.
We, our views align with Trump and essentially his party. And a lot of you may disagree with that. That's fine, but just a heads up that news that we give you will probably come from a biased standpoint of a right-leaning perspective, just as a heads up. But let's look at the most recent things in the world of politics that's happened.
Yeah. I reckon you might have to do a lot of the talking.
Yeah.
I don't follow it anywhere near as much as you do, but I'm happy to ask questions if I'm not too sure. But yeah,
Sweet.
take it away.
Well, because we are avid Trump fans, I would call ourselves, it is exciting for us to look at Trump and his interactions with Justin Trudeau in the last few days. If you don't know who Justin Trudeau is, he's the current Prime Minister of Canada, or should we say Governor of Canada.
Soon to be.
So that is a subtle joke as to what Trump has been teasing Trudeau with, meanly but funnily, as we would say. So if you don't know, this happened about a week ago. Justin and Donald had a dinner, and multiple people reported that due to Canada's how they benefit so much of the trade with the US, they gain approximately $100 billion worth against the US per year. And obviously this is a massive amount to gain, and Trump thought it was necessary to bring up that they essentially rely on the US for trade, which is true. They make $100 billion per year. True?
Yeah.
So he said, if you rely on us so much, I think Canada should become the 51st state of America and you should become its governor, to which Justin had a nervous chuckle response. And Donald Trump did respond and saying it was a joke. He had no intentions of making Canada the 51st state of America. Or so we thought. But recently on Truth Social, Donald Trump's his own public social media platform, he posted, quote, "It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to seeing the governor again soon so that we may continue our in-depth talks on tariffs and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all. DJT." That is an incredibly passionate dig at Justin Trudeau. What are your thoughts on that, Lucas?
Well, I mean, to do that against someone who, is your neighbour and so close as countries, it's quite surprising. Like, it's not something that people would have really expected when Trump came into being the president. I'm very surprised about it, to be honest.
We all knew Donald Trump is going to bring some controversy onto the political stage, and I think, albeit that's what a lot of people voted him in for, definitely not the deciding margin, but some of us, we knew something was going to happen, but to like this humorous extent, a lot of us could not have wished this in our best dreams. And to follow up on that, an article from skynews.com.au, Sky News Australia, has said Canada threatens to cut off some US imports if Trump imposes tariffs. So, of course, this whole feud began from Donald Trump threatening to impose a 25% tariff on Canada if they didn't promise to secure the border. Now, we saw what happened with Mexico. Trump's not even the president, he's the president-elect, and Mexico are already shivering in their boots, promising to strengthen the border. As to the matter of the wall, who's going to build the wall, if they're going to build the wall, who's paying for it, I'm not exactly sure where that is in the air at the moment, but we know that they're committed to stopping migrants from crossing the borders, and they're going to take all the migrants back that have illegal immigrants that have illegally gone into America over the last 4 years back into Mexico. What they'll do with it, we don't know. If they'll go back to their original countries of origin, not sure. But we know Mexico have committed because they don't want the tariff. It's going to ruin their economy, especially with a superpower, a giant superpower like the United States. You can't have that type of tariff on you. These countries, they gain billions of dollars a year, like we saw with Canada, $100 billion a year. They can't afford to have such a huge tariff on them. Now, Canada threatens to cut off some US imports if Trump imposes tariffs. This is very interesting because Canada, which could be seen as the younger cousin of the United States, it's a little brother to it. It's the GDP, the military amount, the economic power is nothing compared to the United States. To see it bite back like this is very interesting and very, very worrying for the relationship between the United States and Canada. What are your thoughts on Canada bouncing back in this statement?
Well, I feel like they almost sort of need to, or else they're just going to end up as the 51st state of United States. But it's needed for Canada. But yeah, honestly, it's looking like I don't even know. I feel like it's needed that they need to sort of bounce back at what Trump's been saying, but yeah, whether the whole becoming a 51st state thing comes through, I'm not sure, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
I do agree. Obviously, I'd much rather Trump over Trudeau, but Canada is an independent state. They do need to. When I say state, I obviously refer to a nation, not a state of America. They obviously need to fend for themselves and stand up for themselves. They can't essentially completely get embarrassed by that on the world stage. If I was in Canada, I would not let that happen. And it's very interesting to note that the Canada election will be coming up in November of 2025, and Trudeau is going to struggle a lot in the election. We already know that Pierre Poilievre, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, I think it's Poilievre, not exactly sure.
I'm not sure.
He is killing Trudeau in the polls. We see him every day in the courtroom. He breaks him on every argument. The fact is, Trudeau doesn't run the country properly. He wastes a bunch of money on this climate change propaganda, and it's finally catching up to him after his too many years in office. And obviously Pierre is right-winged, and so was Trump. So it's interesting to see how that relationship will work. I definitely think Pierre will want a strong relationship between the United States. I don't think he'll accept such a large tariff on the US. But I think the two, Trump and Pierre, they'll work together well because Pierre is also not so free with immigration. He has the same views as Trump. So I think, if anything, Pierre will say, yeah, we'll protect our border, but reciprocate it because we don't want a bunch of immigrants, if anything, coming into Canada as well, which I think would be the right way to go. Obviously, Canada and the US share the longest border in the world than any other state. That's a fact, and it's also the longest unprotected border or unguarded border. And obviously, most of the immigration happens on Mexico, but it is important, I think, to protect the border because all borders should be protected. That's part of the country. And I do think Pierre and Trump will both enforce that, unlike Trudeau. It's interesting to see that in places like Australia here, Albanese has done a bit of a backflip in saying that they're going to decrease the amount of immigrants over the next year. I think this was regarding student visas, which is obviously one of our biggest exports to the world. It's interesting to remove that. Obviously, the coalition is not as pro immigration as the Labour Party, but it's so hypocritical to see Albanese go on such a back foot after being so pro-immigration. Anyway, we'll go back to Trump in Canada. Bless you.
Excuse me.
It is also a funny thing, although this doesn't really add anything to the whole situation. It's very interesting to note that a video has surfaced. We cannot proof check this. It was displayed on Sky News Australia. That is our source. I'm not sure where they got the video from, but there was a video at a hockey match in Canada where they were singing the Canadian national anthem, and then the people began singing the American anthem over the top. What are your thoughts on that? This is a pretty outrageous occurrence.
Yeah, I didn't know that. When was this?
So this is about 2 days ago, I'd say.
Jeez, what a hockey match you said.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised. See, I don't know how Canadians would be thinking about being annexed by America. You'd assume that they want their own country,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
But you have to sympathise with the right wing people. I mean, they've had a terrible run for the last few years with Trudeau. You'd want some change. Now, Pierre is a politician, a polished politician that like no one I've ever seen. I want him in Australia now. So the right wingers can't be too mad. They know Pierre's going to win the election. There's no way Trudeau... I think Trudeau is possibly like the third likely to win. Like an independent's even higher. That's ridiculous. But as a Canadian, I'm not. But speaking on a Canadian, it'd be a true testament for them to want to be annexed by America to show how badly Trudeau is running the country. Do you agree?
Mm.
It's just the price of living, the absolute waste of money on ridiculous woke agendas and climate change policies that are unrealistic and never going to work. The people are waking up to this. It's nonsense. It's not sustainable for a country. And the people spoke in the US election, and they're going to speak in the Canadian election, that they don't want it. They don't want it. They don't want what's going on. They don't want the money wastage. It's as simple as that.
Mm.
All right. I think that'll probably top off the politics.
Yeah.
The politics section. There's not too much of a debate going on here because obviously Lucas isn't...
Not the most educated.
Yeah, you might be sick of my voice a little bit after the first 13 minutes of this. But you'll have a break from me. We'll go on to the next topic of conversation.
I reckon we could talk a bit of... I've noticed it a lot recently. I've taken very big interest. Is light pollution.
Yes.
And how the city lights just makes us blind to the true nature that's above us.
I'm so glad.
And we see it every day, every night. It's above us. I mean, me and Noah went for a walk last night. And we're just talking, just relaxing, and we saw a shooting star. It was crazy. We were just looking at the stars. There wasn't too many stars, but then all of a sudden, just a shooting star ran across. First time I've ever seen it, mind you. But it just made me realise how blind we are to such wonders like that. You can ask so many people, like people our age, teenagers of all genders, and it's...
There's two genders. All two of them.
All two of them. But yeah, it's crazy because light pollution in countries such as America, there's a story that I heard how one night I forgot what city it was, but all the lights went out, there was an outage, and all of a sudden there was the stars. Americans, saw what was above them, and because they've never really noticed, because they've been living in the city. I don't know if it was New York, but
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but they were living they've been always, around lights, and obviously light pollution. You can't see this the night sky. You can't see the stars, and you can probably see the moon, but yeah, so one night the lights went out, and all of a sudden all these people saw the stars above them, and they started ringing up the police because they've never seen it before. They thought it was like an alien invasion or something. And, you know, they ring the police up and they're like, oh my God, we're under attack. We're under attack. And the police are like, what are you talking about? Mind you, this is like hundreds of people are doing this. It's not just like two people that'll ring up the police. It's hundreds of people because they've never seen, you know, the stars, and so many of them. So they thought it was like they were under attack. So then, you know, they're ringing up the police and, oh, we're under attack from the aliens and they're coming to get us. And they're like, what do you mean? And,
you know, I'd find this really hard to believe if I haven't seen this multiple times myself on social. It's crazy to think people were that naive, can you say?
I wouldn't say naive, I mean, it's literally like blinded. Like they don't know.
It's
And the fact
unfair.
that, and mind you, these are like adults that are doing it as well. Like they ring up the police, and like the fact that the education system has failed. Like
That's terrible. It's terrible.
Like, how do you not realize that the stars above you? Like, you should just know. Like, whether you've seen it or not, you should just know. It's not, you know, it's not brain surgery.
I mean, obviously they didn't. They know what stars are. We have to assume. We have to give them some credit. But yeah, like.
But to think it's like an alien invasion because of so many stars.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
going back to what you said before on the walk that we had last night. To put a bit of context in, when we saw that shooting star, we were walking near a football oval, and they had their lights on at about 11 o'clock at night, which is pretty late, but they must have had a function on. As soon as they turned them off, we were looking at the sky, at the night sky when they turned them off. It was amazing. It was like a blanket was pulled off from in front of us, and it completely lit up. 2 minutes later, the shooting star happened. 2 minutes. It was unbelievable. Like, we might not have seen that if the lights were on.
It's
Unbelievable.
crazy, yeah. And the fact that a lot of people, especially our age, like, they don't bother to, you know, take even if it's just 10, 15, 20 minutes out of their night, just to, you know, go outside, look up at the stars for a bit, you know. It's not going to kill you. It's so relaxing. It's almost like meditation in itself, just looking up and thinking, we are these little people. We mean almost nothing compared to what's out there. Like, we're nothing. We're just a little speck. Like, us seeing the star's looking at us and, like, can't even see us.
I've heard that. Yeah, there's astronauts that go to space, and then...
it's almost like you can squeeze the Earth with your two fingers.
There's a really famous photo of... I think it's a space station. There's a photo taken of Earth, and it's from however distance away, but essentially, you know... in the photo, Earth is maybe the size of a coin or a tennis ball. So you can see the entire shape of the Earth and the deep blackness of space behind it.
Yeah.
And the astronauts say, you just see the Earth from such a far distance. It's so small. And I'm sure many of you have heard this. It's just, you see all the problems that you've ever had and heard about in the entire history is just all in that tiny little ball in the blackness of space. It's insane to think how small your problems are in the grandness of space.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. And going back to in America with all like the light pollution that goes on there, because there's definitely places in America that obviously wouldn't have as much light pollution or any at all, but that's, you know, I mean, have you heard of the Northern Lights? I think I'm not sure where it is. I don't know if it's in like Norway or something. I don't know.
Is that like those greens?
Yeah. It's like you can. I think there's like little to no light pollution.
They make killer backgrounds.
Yeah, of course, and you can just see every bit of star. You know, you can see you know, all like the green rays in the sky. It's crazy. But it makes me wonder, like, is there a way that we can almost, you know, find out a way where we can, you know, look at the sky, like with lights and, you know, all that sort of stuff. Like, just look at the sky and, you know, sort of see more. Because from our walk last night, it just made me realise, like, as soon as they turned off those lights, like, we're missing out on so much, like so much natural beauty that we just goes unrecognized. And
100%.
yeah, I was saying before, people our age just they don't really take notice of it because it's not something that really gravitates towards people because they barely even get to see it. So it's almost like you're missing out on nothing.
Just to confirm, those northern lights that you're speaking of occur in the far northern countries such as Canada, state of Alaska, Norway, Finland, Russia, and Greenland. So if there's anyone listening from those countries, and Sweden. If there's anyone from those countries, I'd love to see pictures. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. That'd be absolutely unreal to see a live perspective of what the Northern Lights look like. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd actually be very good. If you guys have any experience, like anyone that doesn't necessarily live in those countries but has actually gone to see the Northern Lights, feel free to just send us a photo on Instagram or something like that. We'd love to see it.
I've always been interested in space.
Yeah, always.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I wonder if
being an astronaut would be so cool.
Amazing.
That'd be amazing.
If you got an offer from NASA or SpaceX right now,
100%.
could you turn it down?
No, I don't. Even if they didn't pay me, I would still go because the experience in itself is $1 million. It's $1 million worth. Like
that's nice.
It's almost like you're getting paid $1 million to see. It's almost like, would you rather get paid $1 million just for nothing, or would you rather be an astronaut, go to space, see all that stuff for nothing? Like I honestly, I prefer go to space. It's just an experience that, you could literally say in your resume, "Yeah, I went to space." It's crazy. I mean, it's just. I mean, that's why I say it's every little kid's dream to go to space. Like it's true. But when you grow older, you still want to go to space. It's just you don't say it because it's just sort of unrealistic. But I mean, obviously, put your mind to anything.
There's obviously an incredible amount of training you have to do to go to space.
Yeah, of course.
But it's just one of those things that you can't turn down. Like, really, how many people would go to space multiple times, let alone once? It's such an incredible opportunity. It's one of those things that there's no way you can ever forget it. And I say that not in a naive way that, of course, if you go somewhere like that, you're never going to forget. But even if you have dementia, or I just can't see myself without seeing that I've been to space. That's just an incredible experience. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. You
know what I wonder? With the light pollution, I wonder if telescopes that actual scientists the astronomers look into the sky at stars and observe the observable universe. I wonder if light pollution actually would affect
block
that.
It. Yeah, something like I've thought that as well because
obviously they can see past the atmosphere, but you'd have to think that it won't help it. That's for sure.
Well, I feel like with the telescope they have thousands of dollars, obviously.
Millions.
Yeah, extremely expensive. I feel like they'd be able to get past light pollution because it's that far away that the telescope would be able to pick up things that far away. But it's a question that is brought up,
I do think
does the light pollution have an effect? I feel like it possibly could. Depends what you're looking at.
I do think they would prominently build these. If that was an issue, they'd build these in those northern countries that we spoke about, Canada, Alaska, to get around that, so they can actually see what they're looking for out there.
Yeah, it's
insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, but I've always been a fan of getting out a telescope and stuff. I've never actually owned one myself, but
I had one when I was a kid. It was like 100-meter telescope, and it wasn't it wasn't all that good looking at the stars. But I looked at the moon once. Not that I saw anything clearly, but I looked at it relatively close, and it was interesting. Obviously it was only 100 meters, probably a $30 telescope. So I wasn't seeing any aliens on there, but it was fun to play around with.
Yeah. It's one of those like an interesting toy.
Yeah. Obviously, these scientists have massive rooms of these room-sized telescopes. It's ridiculous, the sheer scale of them. Yeah, I don't know what it is about space. It's like, gives me
Yeah. I feel like it's because...
cheeky vibe.
Yeah, cheeky vibe, yeah. I feel like it's because it's almost like we're these humans in a house, and then the house is in a town, you know, and it looks small in the town, and the town looks small in a state, and the state looks small in a country. You know what I mean? It just it keeps going and going and going, and we are just like this tiny, tiny little thing in this big world.
It's unbelievable.
And then like that world compared to like the universe is like literally nothing.
And to think you can go the other way as well. Like, we're one human, but we're what, 1 trillion, I think, atoms? Oh no, 1 trillion cells, I'm pretty sure. 1 trillion cells is unbelievable. And then there's bacteria that are like the size of those cells, if not smaller, that live off of us. Like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And how on earth they were able to discover this and study this is just beyond what I'll ever know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's something about... I could just look at those cool... I'm not sure. You know all those pictures of black holes and all? Are they real or are they...
Yeah, they are. Black holes, believe it or not, they actually make a noise. Scientists have tested... I don't know how they did it. Obviously using some very technical work. But they've managed to like pick up noises from a black hole, and it's almost like a whiny noise. Like, it's a very I can't really describe it. If you search it up, you'd easily find it. But yeah, it's so interesting. Like, even black holes, like, they're very interesting. How you know, this big thing of nothing really, and it's crazy to think that we're literally just nothing really. Like, nothing really matters. Obviously, I say that, don't go committing some crimes, but no.
Good line from Bohemian Rhapsody. Nothing really matters. You know what I will say? And I saw that video, I think it was maybe 6 months ago that I saw it. I'm not sure when it was released, of the black hole making that noise. And this is from, we discussed this in, keep in mind my knowledge is at a year 10 physics basis. But I was very confused when I saw that information and the video or the audio recording of the noise from the black hole, because I was under the impression that nothing can escape the gravity of a black hole, not even light, ergo that's why it's black. How can sound escape a black hole?
Yeah, true. I'm just thinking maybe it could be, you know, like around it, maybe. I don't know, like the sound that's like...
But like that wouldn't really be a black hole. See, I'm confused because, like, you know, I did see that. I'm not denying that I saw that video, or the audio. And yeah, it's from scientists saying that they did record it. It was on the news. Obviously, we can't trust everything we see on the news, but there's no political bias in science, really. Well, climate change, forget about that. But, you know, from black hole perspectives, there's no bias that would be in there. I find it really strange. I've never really looked too far into that, though.
It's very interesting.
Well, I think that's...
Hopefully it was interesting enough.
Yeah, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, next episode, got a few more topics to cover. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Got a nice hot day tomorrow in Melbourne.
42. We've got to go back home and... I've got to go home and
look after the dogs.
Babysit the dogs.
Yeah.
Keep them inside because we're at our grandparents at the moment. But everyone's at work tomorrow, so can't leave the poor doggies outside to cook.
Never know, they might make a feature in the next episode.
Who knows?
If we choose to...
A few barks here and there. Yeah. Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, give us some feedback on the episode.
Yeah, feel free to you know, send us any photos of you know, space, or if you comment your opinions on political topics, such as Trump and, you know, everything that's going on with the United States and Canada.
And maybe comment some stuff that you want us to talk about.
Yeah. We're happy to you know, go over some topics that you might want to hear our opinions on. Feel free. But yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you.